चाहता हूँ कि हमारे जो कल्चरल सेंटर सबसावू ब्रांच है उसे फिर से आइटम हमारे लिस्ट के मुताबिक में है। द नेक्स्ट आइटम ऑन द लिस्ट इज द डॉक्यूमेंट्री। अनेकन सुंदर सुंदर दृश्य को दिखाएंगे जो हमारे पूर्वज
invited guests, ladies, gentlemen, and children. Bula Vinaka, and a very good evening to you all. It is an honor to be here with all of you today to commemorate an event that marked the end of one of the darkest, yet one of the most significant eras in Fijian history, the transport of indentured laborers from British India 100 years ago. The legacy of those indentured laborers, the Girmitiyas, can be seen throughout Fijian society to this day. It not only lives on in their descendants, but the determined, tenacious spirit of the Girmitiyas serves as a source of inspiration for every Fijian. That legacy has made Fiji the proud nation it is today, because despite the immense adversity faced by the Girmitiyas, they forged new lives for themselves in Fiji and ultimately overcame their struggle. Between 1879 and 1916, 42 ships made a total of 87 voyages carrying British Indian indentured laborers to Fiji, oftentimes lured away from their homes with false promises. These Girmitiyas endured the grueling journey from India. They suffered demeaning treatment from their overseers, and they slaved away under violent, repressive work conditions. Due to the high cost of returning to British India, many of them had no choice but to stay. In the face of such misery, while it would be easy to abandon hope and give in to despair, instead they persevered. The Girmitiyas' contribution to this nation began the very day they set foot in Fiji, building roads, clearing land, and harvesting sugarcane. The success of Fiji's colonial economy depended heavily on their sweat, their effort, and their talents. Here in Savusavu, it is wonderful to see so many Fijians here to commemorate this important event. As we all know, the history of the Girmitiyas is also the history of Savusavu. Although relatively few Girmitiyas were sent to the Savusavu area compared to sugarcane growing areas of Fiji, a small number were employed at copra plantations in the region, Wunilangi Estate, Tambia Settlement, Devor Estate, and Tuvurara Settlement. All these places were many miles away from the main town of Savusavu, which would have compounded the sense of isolation of the Girmitiya men and women on Vonolevu. In villages, towns, and cities all across Fiji, we can still see the stories of the Girmitiyas all around us. Those stories are a part of the story of Fiji, and that is why these celebrations are being held nationwide, in recognition of the nationwide impact that the Girmitiyas have had on our country. The accounts recorded by Girmitiyas in Fiji tell us much about their suffering, but words alone can never fully capture the emotion and the pain they experienced. So much of what makes our lives fulfilling and enjoyable is found in our relationships, our families, our friends, and our communities. To lose that, to be forced to live and work in isolation, would cause any one of us untold suffering. Transplanted far from home in a foreign land, ripped away from the families and lives that they knew, the Girmitiyas often drew strength from the hope that things would get better, maybe not for them, but for future generations. At first, they had no access to education, but still, they knew that education, that knowledge, was the best path to a better life. That commitment to education has not faltered since those early days. Girmitiyas and their descendants have had a major role in helping create a more knowledge-based society in Fiji. Every day, their work, their values, and their sacrifice have helped build the new modern Fiji and bring advancements into the lives of every Fijian, so that we are all prepared for whatever challenges and opportunities the future holds. We must all never forget that while the practice of indenture ended many years ago, that feeling of alienation felt by Fijians of Girmitiya descent persisted for decades. It took 97 years from the arrival of that last ship for the descendants of the Girmitiyas to be called Fijians, to truly become a part of our nation and participate fully in our national life. When this government in 2013 declared us all Fijians, equal and united as one nation and one people, it was a realization of the hopes and dreams of hundreds of thousands of direct descendants of the Girmitiyas. While many of your ancestors had never heard of Fiji prior to their arrival, in that moment, this nation truly became your home, and it will remain so for all time. The journey has been long, too long, and not without difficulty. But here we all stand, more united than ever before, and all committed to taking Fiji into the future. It is not the duty of any one community to remember the sacrifices and the suffering that led up to this commemoration. We must all remember, we must all reflect, and we must all uphold the legacy of the Girmitiyas. In the same way they strove to build better lives for their descendants, we must strive to leave behind a nation that is better than what we inherited. I would like to echo the announcement by His Excellency the President in his statement at the commemoration held in Suva earlier this week. In 2020, for the 100-year anniversary of the end of the indenture system, we will be holding special commemorations throughout Fiji to mark the end of the indenture era. My fellow Fijians, it is an emotional day for all of us as we remember past trauma and look back on our history, but it is also a day for celebration of how far we have come. Let us all give thanks for the Girmitiyas and their descendants, and let us all try and live up to the example of perseverance and determination that they displayed despite trying circumstances. Vinava Alevu, thank you, Dhanyavad.
If you can come towards my left-hand side here, we are delay with our program. This will be performed by
Sa